There is a book that didn't just get ignored. It was buried, hidden in desert jars, sealed away from pulpits, erased from the official story. It's called the Secret Book of John. And in it, Jesus doesn't preach about church attendance. He doesn't talk about institutional authority. He doesn't build a system. He reveals a cosmic mistake. He tells John that the creator of this world is not the highest God, but an arrogant, blind ruler who doesn't even know where he came from. If that sounds insane, ask yourself something more dangerous. Why was this book removed? Because if it's true, modern Christianity isn't incomplete. It's inverted. In this text, after the crucifixion, Jesus appears to John privately. Not to establish a church, but to explain what went wrong. He speaks of a reality beyond this world, a realm of pure consciousness, fullness, light. The Greeks called it the Pleroma. From that fullness came emanations, not creations, but expressions. One of those emanations was Sophia, and Sophia acted without balance. She produced something alone. And what emerged was not divine clarity. It was distortion, a being incomplete, unaware, disconnected. This being declared, "I am God, and there is no other." That line should sound familiar, because in book of Isaiah 45:5, Yahweh says, "I am the Lord, and there is no other." The Gnostic claim is not subtle. They're saying, that voice wasn't the highest source. It was a being who didn't know he was born from something greater. In the secret book of John, this being is called Yaldabaoth, a ruler with power, but no self-awareness. He creates archons, structures, authorities. He fashions a world not from divine wisdom, but from imitation. And the result? A world of hierarchy, fear, command, punishment. Now compare that to early Hebrew depictions of Yahweh. In book of Exodus 25, God declares himself a jealous God. Jealous, not enlightened, not expansive, jealous. In book of Deuteronomy 32:39, he says, "There is no God besides me." The Gnostic interpretation is brutal. That's not omniscience, that's isolation. A being cut off from the higher fullness, claiming supremacy because he cannot see beyond himself. And the most dangerous part? He genuinely believes he is the highest. Now look at Jesus in the canonical Gospels. He never once describes the Father as jealous. Instead, in Gospel of Matthew 5:45, he says, "He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good." No tribal favoritism, no exclusivity. In Gospel of Luke 17:21, he says, "The kingdom of God is within you, not above you, not external, not controlled by priests, within." That alone undermines religious mediation. And in Gospel of John 8:44, Jesus tells religious leaders, "You are of your father the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning." That's explosive, because who in the Hebrew scriptures commanded mass destruction? The Gnostics read that and asked, what if Jesus wasn't affirming the old authority? What if he was exposing it? Pause here. If this is unsettling, good. Truth that threatens systems always is. If you want content that questions inherited belief, instead of protecting it, hit like and subscribe now. This channel isn't built for comfort, it's built for clarity. And if this perspective is new to you, wait until you see the next video, because we'll break down how the Archons operate psychologically today. But first, let's go deeper. In the secret book of John, humanity is not a failed species. We are trapped light, a fragment of the higher fullness embedded in matter. Yaldabaoth and the Archons create the body, but the higher realm breathes spirit into it. That's why In book of Genesis 2:7, it says, God formed man from dust, but then breathed into him. Two actions, two layers. The Gnostics saw dual authorship, body from the lesser ruler, spirit from the higher source. And when Adam gains knowledge in Genesis 3, Yahweh panics. In book of Genesis 3:22, he says, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Knowing. Awareness triggers fear in the ruler. Why? Because ignorance maintains control. Imagine preaching this in the 4th century. Imagine telling Rome, the creator of this world is flawed. Authority structures are copies. Salvation is awakening, not obedience. You can't build an empire on that. You can't control populations with that. That's why texts like the secret book of John were labeled heresy. And in 1945, when the Nag Hammadi Library was discovered, these writings resurfaced, not destroyed, just buried. Because ideas don't die, they wait. Even if you don't take this cosmology literally, the symbolism is razor sharp. Yaldabaoth represents unconscious authority, the part of the psyche that believes it is absolute, the ego that declares there is no other. The Archons, systems, institutions, thought patterns that keep awareness fragmented. Jesus, in this framework, represents awakened consciousness, entering the system to expose it, not to reform it, to reveal it. And revelation collapses false authority. If the Creator is flawed, then obedience is not holiness, it's captivity. If the kingdom is within, then intermediaries are unnecessary. If knowledge awakens, then ignorance is manufactured. That's why this book was dangerous. It doesn't destroy faith, it relocates it. From external authority to internal awakening. If this reframed how you see the Bible, don't stop here, like the video. Subscribe to the channel and go to the next video, because there we break down how the Archons operate in modern religion, politics, and psychology. Once you see that connection, you won't just question theology, you'll question the entire structure of reality. And that is exactly what they were afraid of.